Domhnall, Digital Manufacturing Ireland, what's your role?
Yeah, so really we're here to support manufacturers to get into the next wave of manufacturing, the next wave of manufacturing technology and performance, and to work with companies large and small across Ireland and internationally to really build those connections so that the digital world, physical world become closer together, and manufacturers then can take advantage of that next wave of manufacturing technology.
And it says in your statements in terms of, it's about supporting the successful implementation of the next successful wave.
Yeah.
What's the current wave of digital technologies?
So currently we're seeing people really investing in data, so making better use of data, interconnecting systems, so removing or bridging as many silos as they can. And we see that being applied then to both predict and simulate what's coming next in their own manufacturing plans. So a bigger site, an expansion of capacity, and even supply chain demand management. So being able to predict and simulate the kind of changes they see coming allows them to be much more, deterministic about what they build, how they operate, how they train people. But it's doing that in the virtual world. That's where we see people right now is moving towards that space.
Okay. And the thing I found very impressive this morning was that you look around us here, right? You have the latest and greatest kit.
Yes.
But what you're doing is it's how that integrates from the time you design, build, plan, operate, iterate, and you're breaking down all those silos with the current technology.
Yeah, I mean, for us that was really important to be able to show companies a full digital lifecycle and a full digital journey. So not just looking at a small isolated piece of technology which is digitally enabled, but actually looking at the full manufacturing process from when you design your product in a digital world, so a digital twin of your product, through to how you take data from that, build it into your ERP system, build it into your product lifecycle management system, so that all of your data starts to inform how you build your production lines and how you manage and operate them. We can also show people how you build digital twin of your of your production line itself. So you're starting to see a twin of how your line will perform, making the new product you've designed in a digital world, and being able to do that before you ever build any part of your manufacturing line or before you change your current line. So a lot of the things we work on clients with are around proposed changes to their current manufacturing, and also around greenfield sites where they're saying actually we need a new manufacturing line for a new product or for new product demand. We can help companies understand what are the implications on their supply chain, what do they need to develop further in the future, and where might they have constraints if they do it in a certain way. And for us being able to show people to do that in a digital world with all the kind of tools that they will be using in the future, and also to show them how to bridge those silos that they might currently have in their organization, and again really centered on the use of data, use of simulation, use of predictability in terms of what's coming next, but always focused on their business demand. So it's about maybe more product, better product, more flexible manufacturing, much more than it is about technology.
All to business resiliency.
Exactly.
And what I found fascinating, we were chatting here, getting an overview. I had thought, you have the various stations, the robots, and you bring the product to the robot. Well, no, you can take the robot to a different. So the whole scheduling and the art of the possible with today's technology is.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a shift towards autonomous factories, where essentially things like guided vehicles or even machine equipment knows where it is. Exactly. So it knows where it is, knows its next job, and then can actually fulfill that job without too much, let's say, reprogramming or configuring or redesign of the production line, so that the system automatically takes care of this based on maybe some operator inputs around, we have this kind of product coming this week, and let the factory figure out for itself how it should go about designing itself, configuring itself, and then ultimately making the product.
Folks that know me, I'm a big fan of digital twins, spatial computing, the Industrial Metaverse. Is that where we're headed with all of this?
Very much so. I mean, I think the ability of people to interact with technology in a way which is much more intuitive, which is less for, I would say, manufacturing specialists in terms of manufacturing technology, but much more for manufacturing specialists in terms of the science of manufacturing itself.
Right.
So that people can interact in a close to real world environment without actually being in the real world environment. And being able to see what might happen next in certain scenarios, or how you can plan for these, but also how you predict things like if your demand changes dramatically, if there's a requirement to change the product type that you're making, if you are really looking at how you maybe what degree of stress your manufacturing comes under certain conditions.
Yeah.
But able to do that in a virtual world with your colleagues and your team around you actually working in the same space as you, and then referring that back to the actual physical world where you can make good decisions faster. I mean, mostly we hear from companies that they want to make data-enabled or data-driven decisions, but they want to make them faster with better context and with, I'd say, also a broader look at manufacturing. So not just looking at the machine they're talking about right now, looking at the impact on the entire supply chain,
end to end,
their client supply chain, and also where they get their supplies from.
And you know, again, you've broken down the silos and augmented reality, virtual reality, you know, and you've got all of the cool toys is the wrong word, but like it's bleeding edge stuff.
Yes.
And then being able to integrate that. No wonder that you guys are busy with Irish manufacturing coming in to solve today's problems, not tomorrow's.
Yeah, I mean, we have certainly some people with eyes on tomorrow's problems, but they know the route to get there is not to not solve today and jump straight to tomorrow. You have to work with what you have right now.
Yeah.
And that's where we start with people. So work within their current capability, their current expectations. What is their maybe 1 to 5 year horizon for what they're trying to achieve? But also their concern is that they don't want to do things now which work against where they need to be in 5 to 10 years' time.
They'll have to redo everything or whatever.
Exactly. So we're trying to build a coherent journey with people that they know the work they do now is not going down a blind alley. It's actually building towards their future generations of manufacturing. So current and maybe close is what we're working on really with a lot of companies right now, but we are about to start on some of that next generation technology, so which is maybe 5 years out, knowing that you have to prepare your workforce, you have to prepare your technology knowledge, and also you have to prepare your supply chain.
Correct.
Because all of these things will change.
Hey, as you say, you know, it's about driving the next wave of successful manufacturing in Ireland.
Absolutely.
You've got a plan.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
hey,
we do.
Good stuff. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.